Hello everyone and welcome to DAT 205 Multimedia Authoring 2. So this first video that I'm doing is actually to just get us situated in how class is going to be run this semester. So you all should have received an email, well, two emails, and the first one would have been an announcement from DAT writ large, talking about how this class is working and the fact that it's going to be something called HyFlex. It's their technical term for it being a hybrid class. And it goes on to describe a few things that you should read about, including what to do if you are on campus and the fact that you can choose whether or not to attend class in person. But I want to talk about the details as they pertain to this particular class as I am teaching it. And so a second email you will have received once I make this video, which will be listed also in the announcement above this one, will also include a link to this PDF right here that kind of gives you a list of the things that make up this class. So we're going to focus on this top part first. So the way this class works, I am trying to make this so that it could seamlessly transition to online only if we need to, and so that people can work entirely remotely if they need to. That is part of this, hybrid thing that we're doing. And step one is not actually the class time. Step one is content videos like the one you are watching now. So because we have very limited time together in class, I want a lot of that to be where you can ask questions and get situated on your homework, which means the first thing you will be doing before you, quote, get to class or attend class or participate in class will be to watch videos that I have created that are like this one. And they will all be posted up on YouTube. I have a channel, it's called Shipwreck Stuff, and you can actually see there is already a multimedia authoring playlist. You can click through here to kind of get an idea if you'd like. Do not use this as an actual teaching tool. These are out of order. This class has changed remarkably over the summer. And so some of these things are being dropped, some of them are moving, some of them are changing, some of them are probably from 4 years ago. So you can take a look, especially at the animation ones, but do not take this as gospel. I will be altering them. What will happen, and you will see, I don't have it made yet, but the announcement, for example, that you have gotten this video from will say, videos are up for week 1, please watch this, and then it'll usually have a link to the video and then describe what each one is. I will post these as soon as I can, usually sometime on Monday, just like this one is, to give you a couple days to watch them. The idea here is that you will watch them before our class time. Before our class time. And to help facilitate that, one of the things we will be doing is that class time will not start exactly at the start of class. So once you watch the videos ahead of time. Our class is on Wednesdays. The official time is 11:15. Oh, I typed that wrong. 11:15 to 1:45. We can actually see that in this DAT thing. We have he links to the courses, but you can also click on the schedule. So this is the schedule for this semester, and you can see the class times are very different than we're used to seeing. We're used to seeing like 1:10 to 2:05 or something like that. There needs to be cleaning time in between the classes, and so the classes start a little bit later and get up substantially earlier by I think at least 15 to 20 minutes. So this means that if you are attending class in person, do not get there early. If you're like me and you're traveling from further away and you have to go in, I'm going to be actually, I'll get there whatever on time or early is, but I'm actually going to chill in an outside parking lot for a little while before I come into the classroom. Students will not be allowed in early. So if you have one of these other classes, for example, this 220 has to let out before 224 can go in. And there has to be that separation between the two classes. And also our class, when it starts at 1 or ends at 1:45, you need to be out of there. So you need to be packing up and being done before 1:45. All right, so that is our class time, 11:15 to 1:45 in the afternoon on a Wednesday. But you do not have to go into the school if you do not want. So that's part of this hybrid thing that we're doing. So if you would like to work remotely, if you can work remotely, not only are you allowed to do that, I would almost encourage you in some ways too, because it will keep the class size smaller, it'll keep exposure down, and it will mean if we have to go to online only, you'll already kind of be prepared for that. But we will be using something called Collaborate Ultra. So the link is not up yet for students, so I have to go to my teacher version. But when you're looking into the class, you're going to see announcements here, and directly underneath, you're going to see this Collaborate Ultra Virtual Classroom. For those of you who use Cisco WebEx last year, or Zoom, or Google Meet, or whatever it is, it's kind of the same thing. And there will be a session for each week. And you will see that I have, I have it set up 12 p.m. right now to start. Right? Even though our class starts at 11:15. Why would I do that? Well, because some people are going to need the lab maybe to watch the videos or to get settled or to get stuff done. And so while our class runs from 11:15, so, starting at 11:15, and I will be online starting at 11:15, our official, this is the lecture, this is the discussion, this is the time you need to be here, starts at noon. Right? So I know that's a little bit backwards from most semesters. Normally, as soon as class starts, like that's the lecture. But this time around, it's actually the lecture part starts at noon. So if you're logging in online, you can come in early and I'll be there, but the official time for everything will be at noon. Now, the way this works also is that it's going to record. So you'll have to be on your best behavior. And it will be there available for you to watch later. So if you missed the class for any reason, you would be able to catch up on it. So when you get here this coming week, you will see this lecture here and you can click and you will join. And we will kind of fumble our way through this first week. There is a chat in here. Which is anonymized after the fact. So what you're typing in afterwards it'll be recorded, but it won't be recorded with your name on it. And we're going to ask that nobody screen capture the recording. There's going to be a set of rules that you should all abide by as we're working in this environment because things are being recorded. But I don't anticipate a problem. We all did pretty well last semester with a lot of online classes. Now, in terms of requirements, there use a participation grade. If I go to my grades for a second, I believe. Yep. So there are participation points, as usual, for being involved in the class time. And this is a required thing. You should be there. This is not like, oh, maybe I'll show up, maybe I'll... No, you should be there. You should be collaborating with your fellow students. Even if you watch all the videos and you understand everything perfectly, you should be there from 12 o'clock to 1:15 in order to add to the discussion. You may have feedback that's different than mine in terms of solutions you've come up with. In particular, people are working at home, and so you all might have overlapping situations that you're having to deal with. So if someone has a technological problem, you may have the solution for them. So you really need to be in class. They are being recorded, right? So if you miss, there will be a mechanism for, you watch and then you get back to me later to let me know what you thought of it or something like that. So we will work that out as people maybe can't be in live. The other thing is, if you are in the actual classroom, for those of you who are having to come to the lab, we're still going to ask you to log in so you can see the chat that's going on and so you can be involved. So you can get your participation points by logging in remotely using this, or by being in the actual classroom, at which point we will still ask you to engage with the online system. And it is, I will have a headset on even in the classroom while I'm talking. I'll be logged in twice, once for the computer so I can say, hey, click here, do this, but also a second one for the headset so I can walk around the room. And as stated in this here, if you are coming to campus, you need to wear a mask the entire time. We're going to ask students to space themselves out in the classroom. We do not have a full class. We don't have 18 people. And with everyone who's going to be staying at home, I don't anticipate the classroom being very full, but still we want to maintain safe distances and everything. All right, so that's step 2. And that's the part that this coming week we're going to take our time on and get set up. And what you should also do is email me what you plan to do for the first class, and if at least what you're planning on for right now. You can change your mind later, but my emails are down below. So please let me know, do you plan to be there in person, or do you plan to log in remotely so that we can kind of know how many people to anticipate for each type of location. All right, so we have our class time on Wednesdays. You can work in the lab from 11:15 to 1:45, but the lecture discussion where we ask questions on the record and things get worked out, that's from 12 to 1:15. And then you get assignments, and we will discuss the assignments during that discussion, but they are going to be posted on Blackboard. So these are some examples. Do not start doing these. These are not finalized. But lecture materials will be posted on Blackboard. So you'll say demonstration materials week 1, demonstration materials week 2, and then here's some homework from week 2. It's got its own file. This is very common. I will be providing you with files for almost everything when we get started, because we want to make sure that we are starting from the same place, basically. Occasionally it might say demonstration files week 3. Oh, but you submit this one when you're finished. If you've taken a class with me before, you already know this rigmarole. I use Blackboard to communicate a substantial amount of material. And so all of your assignments will be under assignments, as will the lecture materials, because it just makes sense to have, the lecture materials next to the homework. When it comes to submitting the homework, we'll be clicking on here. It tells you when it's due. If you see a due date that's in like March or February of this year, please let me know. That's obviously just I forgot to update it for this semester. Points possible, the description again, and then you would, attach the file here, write any comments, and then submit the file. So in terms of due dates, anyone who took these classes with me last semester knows that I was a little bit flexible. I was very flexible on due dates, let's be real, because we didn't know we were going online only and the world exploded. So this semester, though, we know we're working mostly online. We know this is what we are setting up for. So due dates will be real. So if this says it's due Wednesday, September 9th, it is due Wednesday, September 9th if you want full points. So plan accordingly. The time of it is a little bit flexible. I know our class starts at 11:15, but for some of you, you might be able to watch the videos away from school, but you need to work on stuff at the school. And so you might finish up, before the lecture starts. Do not work on your stuff while I'm lecturing, please, unless we're actually in like a work discussion point. But if I'm talking about things for the following week, you really want to be listening in on that. But yeah, if you want to use the early part of class, you get into the lab from 11:15 to noon to work on stuff, that would be fine. So the time of day I'm going to be relatively flexible on, because I know everything is still a little bit crazy, but we want to do these assignments in order. We want to get them done in order, because they build on each other. On that note, there is no syllabus up here yet. I'm still waiting for like the main thing back from the school. But the part that we want to concern ourselves with will look something like this. This is the week to week for this class so far. This is to give you an idea of how the class will be going. So we will be starting with animation. Kind of jumping into the timeline right away. This is why I'm providing you with all the files. You don't have to make anything. When it comes to making things, drawing things, altering things, that we will kind of pick up on things through osmosis as we go through the semester, so that when we get to the second half of the semester and you are designing your own character, you will be familiar with this program enough that you can do that a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for, effectively. And so the first half of the semester, we're learning different kinds of animation. The midterm is going to be something that's called a dynamic word poem. There we go. And it's basically moving text around on the screen in time with audio. And then the second half, the final, is a character animation. Very, very short, like just a little gag, not a full-on character reel. But we have some tools in here that will help us do that. But this is not your deadlines. This is the plan so far. It doesn't account for hurricanes and tropical storms shutting down the state. It does not account for snowstorms and snow days. It does not account for a lot of things. So this is just a guide marker for how we think things should go, barring any changes. But your due dates will come from Blackboard, right? This is going to be the up-to-date portion of things. So please don't rely on the syllabus for the timing of anything. There is a discussion board, but it's not really there yet. We might use it, we might not. Last up, so we have assignments, due dates, and descriptions are all coming from Blackboard. Your grades will also be posted to Blackboard, and that is along with any feedback. So the way this works, I have to move this. Oh, no, wait, I don't. There we go. So the way this works is you will have both an average and a total point. So if there's 400 points in the class, it'll tell you you have 380 out of 400, and then it'll tell you up here that your average is a, I don't know, is that a 92, something like that. So it'll give you the percentage, right? So you don't have to do the math. You can know if you're getting an A or a B or a C. And then specifically for each assignment, once you submit them, there will be a yellow exclamation point until I grade it. And then it'll say you have a 7 out of 10, an 8 out of 10, 20 out of 25, whatever it is that you got for that assignment. And then underneath that will be some feedback. Anything to do with animation will actually probably be video feedback. So going back, I post things to YouTube. They are not public, so you'll have your own private links, but you'd be able to watch a video where I go over your animation. And I do this because animation is tricky to grade. Like, I can't give you feedback with words. And also, we're not in the classroom very much, right? So I can't really look over your shoulder and give you feedback that way. And so I'm going to use this tool to give you feedback remotely. So please watch them. They take time. And also, if you're wondering what your average is, look at this page. Because if you email me and ask what your average is, I look at this page. This is the same thing that I get my information from. If you don't like your average and you're wondering why is it so low, look at the assignments. Are you missing any? Does it have a little dash next to something even though it was due last week? Does it have a 0 next to it because it was due 2 weeks ago and you have not handed it in yet? Well, that's why your grade is the way it is. So please, 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 please look at this, study it, see the feedback I've given you before you ask me questions about your grade. If you still have some kind of question like why you got something as a particular grade, then by all means, let me know. And again, my email, which is under the announcements and will be everywhere. I have both my school email and my Gmail address here for you to use. On the bottom half of this PDF, I have a few things that we're going over for support. So things that are helping us with this class, they're not part of this, timed loop of you watch a video, we go to class, we have the assignment, we get some grades, right? In addition to that, we do have a book. It's in this first post over here. It looks like this. You do not need it for the first week. You might need it for the second week. But this is our book. You can get it used. There might be copies there's Kindle versions for sure. There might be copies at the bookstore, but it needs to be this one. There's like Phoenix on the front. There are other versions. Don't get those. If you see a ninja on the front, it's too old. But I will use this book. Hello? There we go. As a supplemental tool. And I'm trying to see if they have a preview chapter of anything we're actually going to use. They don't, which is unfortunate. I promise it's not just about vector drawing. So this book has a lot of examples that we use in class. So what might happen is, under assignments, I'll have demonstration materials for week 2 that came from the book. And so we'll go over things in class, but then I will write down here, check pages 42 through 49, right? Because again, we're not in class as much. And so this is additional material for you to get more information and have another review or another way of looking at things to help you out. Some assignments are directly from the book. Bouncing ball assignment is directly from the book. This one is not. I have some others that are. And so that way, as you're working, again, it's more information for you, another way of reading it, another way of looking at it. And we will talk about the book more. Another thing that you should be checking is announcements on Blackboard. So we've already got 2. We had one from before about this class specifically, and now we have this one, which is basically for the whole DAP program. in years past, you would have been able to forward this to your personal email. That is no more. The school has decided to go very draconian on email. And as far as I know, there is no way to forward anything. You have to check your school email. This is most unfortunate. I dislike this immensely. But that's how it is. I don't know if there's a way for you to add a secondary email, like add one. But for right now, please, please, please be logging into Blackboard. There should be a rhythm we fall into. Announcements for the week will go up on Monday. And then there might be some supplemental things that come in later. And so it has to be on you to like really check this. Every time I make an announcement that's like a big one, for the week, I will email you a copy of it, but you won't know it unless you're checking your school email. So why do I have my Gmail address? Well, because sometimes people need to send me their files. The school email will strip a flash file, the FLA, that's what we use, from the email. So if you're having a problem and I'm like, oh, I'm not sure what you're saying, like, just send me your file, I'll take a look at it, because that can happen. If you send it from your nv.edu email address to me at Gmail, it won't send. It strips the file out. If you send it from anywhere to my nv.edu email address, it will strip the file out. So the only way to get me that is to like either send me a Dropbox link or like a share link, or to use outside email, and that sucks. But I'm not sure why, but the virus scanner will take away all of our files if we try to send them to each other. So I always have this other option just in case. I do check both on a regular basis. A couple of you have already emailed me, so either one, you can reach me. Also, oh yeah, so email is what I went over. The other thing is that if you were to click on this dot courses thing, I said before, courses tells you what you need for each of your classes. This class, 205, which isn't even listed here. Oh no, it is. We're using Adobe Animate. That's the only software we're really using. You can do everything in this class through there. If you want to use Illustrator to make some things, that's fine, but that's on you to know Illustrator. One of the issues is that you need to have Animate 2019. This is not specified over here. If you have an older version, you can still do things, but we're going to get to a point in the semester where is it? Here we go. Where we go over parenting and you're going to go, what? Because joint parenting or item parenting does not exist prior to 2019, I don't believe. There is a joint tool. It's not the same thing. It's terrible. Please don't use it. And there's a small assignment you wouldn't be able to do, but then the character design, the character animation, that will be very, very much more difficult if you can't do parenting. So the chances of you having a version of Animate that old are very slim. However, it does need to be at least 2019. I believe the school is using 2020 now. Not too much of a difference between those two, but still. And then the other thing, again, that you would want to check is the schedule to know, to keep track of all of your classes. Another link that I'm typing this wrong, datsetmore.com. So dat.setmore.com, which again, I will have a link. So normally we have advising time with the various students. That has been changed. And now you have to schedule a 301 lab time. So if you want to do lab time in the other room, in the smaller room, you have to schedule it, and it is 30-minute. Oh, it says an hour and 30 minutes over here. Cool. So if I go to, there we go, computer number 1, and then I can either do 11 to 12:30, 1 to 2:30. You'll see there's a half-hour gap in between these things. And so I can click and say, all right, I want to be in there from 1 to 2:30. And I would have to schedule it on a particular day. And that's my time, and I type in my info and I hit confirm. You will not be allowed to take 2 at a time. So you can't schedule 1 to 2:30 and then schedule 2 to 4:30 because there's too many people that are going to need to use these. So if you know you're going to need lab time and you want to schedule it against your class schedule. So if we get out of here at 1:45 and well, that doesn't work out super well. But you want to have a computer, then you can schedule this here. And know that my class gets over about 1 o'clock, 1:15. So if you wanted to schedule the 1 to 2:30 time for after our class, you could do that. You could work in there. You can log in to the discussion if you want to keep part of the discussion, but you need to work in here later. But you have to schedule your work time. Do not, however, do the main time. So don't schedule your time for 11 to 12:30 and then take the class from the lab. Please, please, please don't do that, because if you have access to a classroom, you want to be in the classroom and let people use the lab who don't have access to the classroom, because you will not be able to use the classroom if you are not in class. So, for example, if someone is in the DAT 101 class and they want to come in early, they can't use the classroom even if there's space. All right, so that is how you can schedule time to work outside of class. You have access to the room from 11:15 to 1:45, but you have got to be doing classwork. If we see people just hanging around, we'll be like, all right, chop, chop, time to go, because we don't, again, want people in there just hanging out or whatever. I don't think anyone will be doing that right now, but just to give you a heads up, that is how the department's going to be running the classroom even. All right, so that is the overview. I'm sorry it went a little longer than I expected, but that is the overview of how class is running this semester. Your job is to watch this video. This is your content video for this week to watch first before class. And then when we get to class time, we'll be able to use the Collaborate Ultra. It will be live. I will be online in multiple ways so that you can contact me to get set up. Let me see. So email me if you're planning on doing the class remotely, or if you're planning on coming into the lab. Please, 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 please let us know one way or the other, at least what you're doing for the first week. You can always change your mind and just let us know then. But we really need to get a head count. So please do that. And if you have any questions about getting connected to Collaborate Ultra, please let me know as soon as possible, and I will help you out. If you have any questions about assignments or grades or anything, save it for class time, because that is one of the things we will be discussing this week. All right. Hopefully this helps. Hopefully this helps you understand how things are. My main goal is to be as flexible as possible, so you can connect to class however you like. You have to be there. It's still, it's a required time. But also, if we have to go online only, we can pretty quickly. And if you're having any technology hurdles in terms of working remotely, please let Professor Ray know, and then we can forward you to whatever resources that we have available. So thank you, and I'll see you or hear from you guys on Wednesday.